and attention that he gave this commission and each one of us during his time.
Commissioner Bullard, would you like to say anything?
Yes, I think that Chair Pryor was under a lot of pressure, and I hate his decision in a very real sense, but I understand it. The part that I think needs to resonate with us and with the public is the frustration he's felt with city management and city council. That's it.
Okay. Commissioner Draith?
Yes, I fully appreciate Chair Pryor's efforts that he put in forth with us and getting us started and on the way. I know he'll be missed, but I fully understand where he's coming from, and I appreciate his decision, and I know that for the best for him and his future forwardness in the city, that he made the right decision. So thanks.
Commissioner Hildebrand? Michelle? It's all right. We can come back if you want to speak. Sorry, I can't see all the videos. So if you're shaking your head, I can't see you, but we'll just skip you for now. Commissioner Ward?
I just want to echo everything, the thanks to Jordan. He had a tough job. I know that he was very frustrated with, especially the first city council meeting. I didn't attend the second one, but especially after the first one, and I can appreciate his frustration. I felt some of the frustration that he has as well all along. I wish he would have stayed on because he is a valuable member and he's had a lot to add to this. But I think we just kind of need to keep going forward and do what we can in a little bit of time that we have left.
Commissioner Schneider?
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I also appreciate, sorry, get rid of that echo. I also appreciate Chair Pryor's work. I know he put a lot of work and a lot of time into this commission. And I appreciate his frustration and his need to protect his well-being. It has not been an easy role for him. And I don't think it's been an easy role for any of us. It hasn't been for me. So I understand where he's coming from. And if I'm truly honest, I'll listen to everyone else. Thank you.
Commissioner Scholl?
I have no comment about.
Okay.
I respect his decision.
Cool. Commissioner Swiger?
When I first heard it, I was shocked and disappointed, but the more I thought about it, I rearranged my thoughts so that, I respect a person needing to do what they need to do for themselves, for their family. And I think I've moved past that. He was a valuable member of our commission, and his input and leadership was much appreciated. But I do believe that we are making a difference, maybe not to the degree that initially we thought we would, but sort of think that's maybe true for any commission. But I believe we are, like I said, we are making a difference, and we can go forward from here and end on a high note, I hope. Thank you.
Thanks. Commissioner Vick?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Very good. I'm rather disappointed. I think that he did well at the beginning, but For me, it's a big disappointment. I wish you would have faced us as a commission, eyeball to eyeball. That's what I was taught since a young age. I understand the whole protect your family. It's a little harder for me to swallow a little bit just because of the career I'm in and how you do that. But we have valuable people on here everywhere from Catherine Barrett to Schneider to all these people that have put in all this time to have our leader just up and quit when the going gets tough. That's how I look at it. But we need to press forward and do some good things. Jensen and Hughes are not, professional studies are not. I agree absolutely 100% with Catherine Barrett's thing that we got to press forward. And I think we've been pushing the fire a little bit. And I think that's needed. So there's my thoughts.
Thank you. Commissioner Walsh.
Am I in? So I think Jordan, first of all, I respect everyone's individual decisions. And I also know we are all replaceable. So every one of us. So, I respect his decision. I wish he didn't, but I do respect it. And we are all replaceable. I wasn't at the last meeting on the 16th. But I listened to it, and Jordan expressed his frustration with City Manager Adams and by proxy City Attorney Garcia very clearly during that meeting. He felt sandbagged. And when you look back at what we've been doing, and what, Moses and Steve sit there scribbling their little notes that we never see. We have no feedback from them. They just stand like statues. So most people in a conversation converse, they share. It would have been great if Steve and Moses had consented to make a presentation saying, here's my job. This is what I do in my job. This is what I'm working on. This is, et cetera. The ordinance itself, we're not to make a report. We're not to do anything. We're just making recommendations to the city manager. And I think what Steve's doing, and he's just such a poor communicator. I mean, this is like right out of 1950s male bad communication. If you look at the makeup of this group, there are a lot of young people in here, and there are young men in here who communicate more openly and more effectively. And it is really weird for me too. I recognize Steve's communication form because I'm old and I remember the old days. That's what guys used to get away with all the time. And it's just built right into them. But I want to show, I don't know where my camera is. Here's this little book that Don gave us, Trust Works. This is what happened. Steve, I don't know if Steve and Moses got copies of this book from Don. They should. If you want mine, you can have it. On page 73, where it's talking about behaviors that bust and boost trust. Connected, trust buster number 2, ignoring others' efforts. If people put forth energy in your direction, at work, at home, even in casual business transactions, and all they hear back is deafening silence, you're busting their trust. These are the words of Don Overcash, your overseer. Those are his words. He gave these words to us to direct us. So that's my comment. I understand Jordan's frustration. I share it. I'm put off by it. It's insulting at the very least. And even now, they will not say anything. Steve wrote some bogus, before we even talked about Jordan's resignation, Steve squirreled that email over to City Council with a note of appreciation, just again, his bogus, I'll say thank you and I'll say these kind words and etc., completely inauthentic. And he took Jordan's email to us, to City Council. So, talk about, just busting trust. It's right and left and right and left. I don't blame Jordan. Half of us are right behind him.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Walsh. So my comments on this, I will miss Jordan. I do see that we've made progress. It's hard to see sometimes, but we're getting there and we have 6 meetings left. If you guys would like me to continue in the chair position, I can. If somebody else would like to have it, it's something we can discuss at our next meeting. We can add it to the agenda if you'd like. But it's definitely sad for us, but something that we are going to have to work through. And there's only a few meetings and we have to see the progress that we're making. So I don't know, does anybody else have any further discussion?
I don't have any, this is Commissioner Vick. I don't have any discussion on that, but I want to remind everybody, I don't think the city's open on Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So we're down to 5, not 6,
5.
I thought,
Okay.
meetings.
5. Okay.
And this is Jeffrey. I think Commissioner Thompson is in. I'm not sure if I don't think he's been called on yet.
Commissioner Thompson, would you like to have any discussion?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I would just say basically what's been said now. I wasn't surprised at all on what happened. It was very evident in Jordan's manner and speaking during the last meeting. He was very upset and very frustrated, which I'm pretty much all of us are. But I also realized that, you know, the city has had the Jensen Hughes report as longer than anybody has. And so think that nothing would have been started or moving on the Jensen Hughes stuff. I don't know that I think that's realistic because I figured they would be doing something. But you're right, we did not get any updates on what the city was doing. And I'm not 100% sure we're entitled to those updates. You know, our job was to try and build trust. And I don't know that we've done a lot in that area. But, you know, I think we need to continue on and do the best that we possibly can. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
And Chair,
Um,
Mayor,
yes.
I apologize for interrupting. I'm not sure if on your screen you can see Mr. Garcia's hand is raised.
I can't see any hands, so I appreciate that. Mr. Garcia?
Good evening, Commission members. I wanted to provide you with a process because you did announce this as the subject of your meeting, so you have a lot of breadth in terms of what you're able to do at this meeting related to the subject. I went back and reviewed the Boards and Commissions Handbook as well as the ordinance. What we have here, we do not have a commission of succession. So that means that Vice Chair Meyer cannot become the chair. You have to actually have a new chair and a vice chair. So if you were to decide to change that position and she were to move into it, you'd still need to vote for a new chair, but you do have the ability today, if you are ready, to vote for a new chair for that position. That's all. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. Does anybody?
Vice Chair
Yes.
Mayor, you can't see, but Commissioner Black and Commissioner Barrett have their hands up.
Okay, Commissioner Black.
Thank you. Well, I would move to appoint Sarah Mayer as our chair.
I would second.
Is there any discussion? I'm gonna need help with it. Oh, yes.
Vice Chair Mayor,
Yes, please.
would you be willing to step into that role?
Yes, yeah, I talked with Jeffrey to figure out the total hours and everything needed, and I think I can manage that.
Okay,
so
great. Thank you.
I would, yes.
Excuse me for a minute.
Yes.
If now I can't remember her name, would call or would email Jonna. She's trying to get in and hasn't been able to. She's out of state, so.
Hannah, is that something you could assist us with, or Jeffrey?
I can call her.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
that
you.
would be great. Thank you.
Okay. So then a motion has been made to nominate me as chair. Is there any more discussion?
I think if you can pull it off, fantastic.
All right. Well then,
Because you can do it. It's just I was concerned about time constraints. That's looking out.
Yes, unless anybody else wants to self-nominate or be nominated. Mr. Garcia, I see is your hand up again? Found the way to scroll. Nope. Okay. No more discussion then. Can we please have a vote? All in favor, please put your little raise hand button or say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Vick says aye.
All
Hildebrand
opposed?
says aye. Aye.
Oh, okay. Any opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Then,
Sarah.
yeah, I look forward to it. And any help that you guys have to send me, please just shoot it on over. Then we need a vice chair. So are there any nominations for vice chair?
This is Commissioner Vick. I'll
Yes.
step into that role if everybody's not against it.
Is there any discussion on Vic self-nominating for vice chair?
I would second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? Is anybody else feeling like they would like that position? All right, then all in favor of Shane Vick becoming vice chair, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 Commissioner Thompson, aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right. So onward in our meeting notes then. We need to discuss the survey. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I have one more item as far as moving forward.
Yes,
I would
please.
like to move that, and this is really to Commissioner Walsh's comments, and was something that I thought of after Jordan submitted his resignation. I would like to move that the city manager give us a city manager's report with at the start of all of our future meetings to give us an update on trust-related actions and activities that the CTC should be made aware of.
Is there a discussion on that? City manager, would you have any discussion on that for us?
Thank you, Chair. I would love to do that. I'm not quite sure trust-related issues. If you had more, somehow I can help more pinpoint exactly what you're looking for. I'd be happy to do that as a standing item from each meeting now on. Just tell me what kind of things you would like to know more about. I have a lot going on in our city, so.
I would suggest anything having to do with the Jensen Hughes report, anything having to do with City Council landing on the Reporter Herald pages, any critical newsworthy incident that would impact the trust of Loveland citizens at your discretion. I don't know, team, tell me what else.
Commissioner Walsh, your hand just came up.
Thanks. I think what Jordan was pointing out is that that happened once with the co-responder issue, and then everyone went and thanked Steve for speaking the truth at City Council, when in fact, Steve could have told the CTC what the city was doing on the co-responder issue, so that our recommendation could have been put in a context. But instead, he sat there taking notes while we were doing all this. And then Jordan makes the presentation to City Council. And if people haven't seen it, that City Council report, you should, because some of the more vicious of our counselors tried to lay into Jordan for that one. And Steve actually sort of fessed up. He was acting like he was the knight in shining armor, which he was not at all. He did fess up to the fact that this was something that he was working on, and et cetera. So that was the first instance of sandbagging, where we spent our time talking about this, and our liaison, full of knowledge of what the city was doing on that very topic, sat silently taking notes. So that was sandbag incident number one. I think sandbag incident number two, which Jordan expressed his frustration for, had to do with, you guys are, the subcommittee's putting all this work into, and I know Jordan was part of it, all this work into the survey. I personally am not behind it, but that doesn't matter. I'm just one vote. So he puts all this time into the survey, and then Steve sort of nonchalantly brought up, I thought it was very, by the way, we're doing the survey, this national survey effort. And I think Jordan was just like, at that point in the meeting, he was like, he didn't swear because he's not a swearing man, but he expressed his frustration because here he had spent all his time, and the subcommittee had spent all his time on the survey thing. And it's a natural part of conversation to say, we're already doing this, So that's a different thing than, it's just the natural thing. And it may be that Steve just does not understand how to have a conversation. I'm not sure. We should ask the people that work with him how he communicates. Maybe this is just his natural style. But to me, when someone says, oh, we're going to take a survey, and if the whole purpose of this commission was to make recommendations to you, wouldn't you go, well, I'm already doing a survey? It would just be a natural thing that would come out. So I think my comment had more to do with this type of sandbagging incidents, and it may just be like not in Steve's skill set. I'm not sure why, but I think it's more that. It's more, if the city is already working on something and we're going to be making recommendations on that topic, it just, if this was actually a team effort versus we just have the head none in observing us so they can run back to report on us or something, it's a natural conversation. If Steve was taking recommendations, and I think he actually told us too, that what he's doing is he is taking recommendations throughout our conversations, that that's why he's taking notes, which is weird because then Moses tells us we can't act unless it's emotion. So there's a lot of confusion about what they're doing. And I don't think Steve understands what Jordan was frustrated by, but he was frustrated by Steve Adams' office and his failure to communicate specifically on activities that the city is undertaking under Steve's direction and we're raising as topics. So I don't think it's give us a general report on what you're doing. It's specifically, if it's stuff we're working on, tell us that tell us that the city's working on it.
This is Commissioner Vick. Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, and maybe Jeffrey can back this up, I don't have meeting minutes sitting in front of my truck here. We were told about the national survey thing prior to the last week's meeting. I think
Yes.
Nicole Yost even brought it up in her stuff. So it wasn't like we were blindly into that. And I don't want to sound like I'm defending one person or another because I'm just as frustrated. But I have to ask the question, did our chair ask questions of City Adams or just expected them to automatically communicate with us? Does anybody know? Because that's a thing. I somewhat agree with Commissioner Walsh that there should be some communication, but on the other hand, I got to look at it from both sides. Did we as a commission, did our chair ask Steve Adams, hey, are you guys working on anything? Was there a two-way communication? Did they communicate often? Does anybody know the answer to that?
Mr. Garcia, your hand went up.
Hello, I might be able to provide some background, and Steve can certainly elaborate. One thing I know that is after the first quarterly meeting with City Council, Chair Pryor was very concerned about the use of city resources. And despite the city's insistence that he meet with us so that we could prepare him and go over the agenda and have as much communication as possible, I think he was really concerned about the use of resources, and he stopped all communication with the city manager and the city attorney's office after that point. And I think that might be part of what Commissioner Walsh is referring to in terms of not having enough and not feeling blindsided. So that's something that we would certainly, and I know you can ask Steve directly, but I know he is absolutely open to it, and we pressed very hard to have those meetings to maintain communication. But Chair Pryor just felt very pressured not to use city resources, and I don't think that was the intent of council.
I'm just going to try to redirect us quickly because we are running out of time a little bit. So on the table, we have a motion for an update on trust at meetings from Mr. Adams. So can we discuss more about that and what we would like to see from that? The request for an update weekly or bi-weekly?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Schneider.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. I would like to hear, of any updates regarding any of the work that we're doing, any of the discussions that we're having. I appreciate what Attorney Garcia just said, and I also appreciate what Commissioner Walsh just said, which is that, Steve Adams, City Manager Adams is here with us. And in a true team, we do communicate. We hear something, we go, oh, I know about that. Oh, so I would request that. And I believe we're all capable enough to figure out what those things are. And I hope we are.
Well, what we could do is if we have a topic, which I don't know if we're going to have a topic, we could say, oh, are you guys working on this already? And I raised this where it came up, and I had a private conversation with Jordan. I said, I think we have to ask for the settlement agreement at every meeting. I don't think that these guys volunteer stuff. And we didn't do that. And there's time consuming, et cetera. And then I discovered that the settlement had been finalized after looking at the loss runs. And then I went to the court docket. So it was very clear to me very early on that City Attorney Garcia and City Manager Adams are dealing with this a little bit more like 21 questions versus a conversation. And so that's why, I figured out we have to make a motion, et cetera. Just to clarify what City Attorney Garcia said, the reason why Jordan did not engage in the private woodshed conversations with Steve Adams to set the agenda is he moved the setting of the agenda to our meetings so that Steve wasn't just bossing him around, but that the agenda was set by the entire Trust Commission, which is what we asked Jordan to do. So just to clarify that, it wasn't to save city resources or et cetera. It's because we wanted to set our agenda, not Steve Adams setting our agenda.
Okay, so we still have the motion. Yes.
I feel compelled a little bit to speak.
Good.
And I would just like to say that we started out not to set your agenda, which was not our pathway, and Jeffrey can attest to that. It was to assist in learning what might be of benefit to the trust group and how we can bring the resources to that discussion. It still is that way today. And if your current chair is open to that meeting, I think you'll find it very informative because we can help bring things, anticipate questions, and so forth. Both Moses and I can, and we'll be more than willing to do that and have been offering that the whole time. So
to the whole group. Well, I mean, I don't understand.
No, that's
why-
a whole group. It's fine, but it takes detailed coordination in all of these things. That's why I take notes. What your general comments are is fine, but it takes staff coordination to make it happen, and that's what I'm taking notes for. And so, anyway, we can have another discussion about that, I guess. But I think the point there is we have been and want to be helpful, and that's what we're doing. And some of you can say yes, thanks for the help, and others not. That's fine.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and.
Bullard has a question.
Okay.
I would like Mr. Adams to be proactive, because I think there are a number of things that are going on in the city and at city council that we may not be aware of. And I'm not sure how many people tune in to city council on a regular basis. I know I am usually in attendance for at least most of the meeting, but nevertheless, I think having him be more proactive so we get a sense of what's going on that we need to get involved in, or not. Maybe we'll see that, oh, this stuff is done, we don't have to do it. But that's my suggestion.
Okay. Final discussion point, Commissioner Black.
I just want to second Commissioner Barrett's motion.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Can I make a quick note, Commissioner Walsh? Because of your background, we might not be able to see your raised hand.
Oh, it was raised.
Okay.
I unraised it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my bear.
Okay. So, sorry, my background is egg cartons because I've been working. But let's see. So our next agenda item is to talk about the survey. We have a couple points on that. How long do we want to let the survey run? What events do we want to go to and table at? And who will be our volunteers? Commissioner Barrett, would you please speak on this?
Sure, thank you. I promised to bring back what Nicole Yost used for the traffic study that had 13,000 responses. She had that survey out for 45 days approximately. So I would suggest that we stick with something like that. That will give us plenty of time to compose responses and figure things out from there. So I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say about how long we let the survey run.
Do we know if we can see responses as they come in so that we could discuss them potentially at meetings and figure out where our direction is?
I will ask Nicole for that before each meeting. Or I can even ask her for like a weekly update.
This is Commissioner Thompson.
This is Commissioner Vic. Oh, we got.
1 second. Let's go Commissioner Thompson, then Commissioner Vic, please.
Okay. I think the 45 days sounds fine, and 45 to 60 days would be fine with me. I just think setting a time frame is a good thing, and so I would be in favor of either of those.
Commissioner Vic.
So here's my thought. I think we did a really good job. Like I said, I really want to thank Commissioner Barrett for her work on that. Here's my idea. If we can turn this over in September to, is her name Yost, whatever, I think we should let it run. Let it run its course. And if it keeps getting more and more feedback and more feedback, just because the commission ended doesn't mean that the feedback shouldn't. So maybe we come up with weekly reports while we're meeting so we can discuss issues. But even after September, I don't see why there's a reason why the city shouldn't know why they're not being trusted, in my opinion, because there's a couple really good questions on that survey that a PI or a PR department could really do with council, or City Attorney Steve Moses or Adams could use that information. So I don't know if that's just my opinion, my thought.
Thank you, Commissioner Black, and then Commissioner Ward.
I understand Commissioner Vick's point. However, if we as a trust commission want to address this survey's data and response together as a group before we end in September, then I'm all for ending it by the end of July. That would be what I'm in favor of.
And I think I'm up next. I agree with Commissioner Black and Commissioner whoever, sorry, I lost track of who's talking now. But the 45 to 60 days makes a lot of sense to me. Finishing this up in the middle of July makes sense. But to Commissioner Vick's point, I think it's possible within the to leave the project up with not necessarily the feedback from the survey, from a specific survey, but leave the project up and open, and perhaps throw out a random question, or just leave it open, or put a random post on there and see if people respond. So I don't think there needs to be an endpoint to the project itself. I could be wrong. Commissioner Barrett, would you know? Or somebody know that if the project, that the page can stay on that Let's Talk even after we go away?
I'm sorry, the page can stay on. And some people have suggested that that the city put together just another ad hoc group to address questions as they come in.
Okay. So yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've got.
Okay, so is there any more discussion on the survey length?
Just this, Commissioner Vick, just one thing to add. There is, if I am correct, like the fire advisory board is an ad hoc, so they only meet when issues come up. So to Commissioner Ward's comment, I think that's a great idea. I think that could be one of our recommendations, is that you leave this up and listen to your citizens. My thought.
I have one discussion point. I think if we leave it up for 45 days, then we gather just that information to make our recommendations onto council, and then give council the option to keep it running with an ad hoc commission that looks at it. Would that be okay?
That sounds great.
Garcia, your hand is up. Do you have anything? Nope. Okay. Okay, so then, did everybody like the content of the survey? Is there any, was everybody able to see it and access it with the QR code? Was there any issues with that? Jeffrey?
Sorry, just a couple quick things. I talked to Commissioner Drake. She is not able to get in for some reason. We could not get her in. And the only thing is she wanted me to relay to you all that she, of course, is on the commission or the subcommittee that helped create this. But she just wanted me to relay that she supports and likes the survey as developed.
Oops, was I muted? Sorry if I was muted. Commissioner Barrett, could I please redirect it back to you to talk about the events that we could potentially be at? Do you have
Sure.
Any points to speak on?
Sure. So the city is able to set up booths if we get permission to get a booth set up for this ahead of time, and we can get name tags so that we don't look like just anybody with clipboards going around taking, signatures for anything. So that would lend a air of credibility to us. We would have a table, a banner saying, Community Trust Commission, Trust Project, or something along those lines. We'd have the printed survey, which again, we don't want people to use the printed survey if they can use the QR code and go online and do the survey, because the printed survey, someone has to go in and manually data entry all of that information. So we far prefer them to do the online survey. There's also a ability to have a tent over the table, and the city would set that up as well. We've got 3 events coming up very soon that we need to have a yay or nay on tonight, so I can let Nicole know. The first one is June 5th through September 25th. Every Sunday, there's a farmer's market. So if we wanted to ask to have a table there, we need to let her know, except July 3rd is the only exception. The 4th of July events, tables that may already be full. But even if it is, if we can't get a tent, we can still walk around with the clipboard and the QR code and engage people that way who are attending that event. And then finally, July 16th is the Cherry Pie Festival. If we would like to have a booth there, we need to know right away. Coming up with a little bit more leniency, July 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, there will be Foot Lagoon concerts. These are city events, and we can find out if booths are available there. August 11th is Movies in the Park. September 18th is the Honey Festival. And then we already talked about library events. My feeling on the library events is that we create another subcommittee to put together the Hispanic-speaking library events and any other listening sessions that we want to put together. Non-city events that they've talked about are June 10th, Promenade Kids Day in Centerra, the Sounds of Centerra concerts, Centerra Kids Movie Nights. And the reason that for the focus on Centerra is to make sure that we get Ward 4 and the east side of the city. We need to make sure that we're reaching as many people as possible. DDA sponsors One Sweet Summer events. We've got the Loveland Loves Barbecue Bands and Brews coming up July 8th and 9th. Art in the Park, August 13th and 14th. And then finally, the Corn Roast Festival, August 26th and 27th. My idea was to send this out to everyone, this list of everything, and just ask you to tell me which events you would be interested in attending, how many hours you would be able to give to that event on that day, and then we can put together a schedule. And you can just send that information, sorry, Jeffrey, to Jeffrey Range, and we'll put the schedule together from that. Does that sound okay to everyone?
Real quick, Commissioner Barrett, this is Commissioner Schneider. Can we add the Juneteenth celebration to that list?
Yeah, is that not on there? Yeah, June 10th, Promenade Kids Day. Is there another?
Juneteenth.
When is that?
I believe it's June 16th or June 19th, but it's the celebration of slaves learning that they were free for the first time in Texas. June 20th. Thank you.
June 20th, it's
Yeah,
happening?
it's a Monday night.
Well, I think there's a celebration that Heart and Soul is putting on, so I would want to check with them to figure out when that celebration is.
Let me help you with that, please.
Thank you.
As a member of Heart and Soul.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Heart and Soul would love to have you have a booth or table there. The celebration for Juneteenth is actually on Saturday, June 18th from 4 to 8 at the Foot Lagoon. All sorts of stuff is planned. There will be, we'll find out more as we get closer to it, but yes, and there will be no charge for that, certainly. And my understanding is that as Juneteenth is a holiday, because that's on a Sunday, then and this may be Commissioner Adams, is that definitely just on Monday the 20th, or can people take a holiday on a different day?
Thank you. I think I mentioned last time that June 20th was Juneteenth city holiday for us, so that day will not be available. But I also mentioned to the commission, you can have a meeting any day you want. You don't have to meet only on Mondays, because I know some people were concerned about the time and so forth. But if you wanted to add another day because of the holiday schedule and taking away your Mondays, there's always the possibility of adding other days to the schedule.
I have a question about that, Mr. Adams. Does that always have to be a special meeting, or is that something that we can just decide we're going to have another regular meeting on certain days?
If it's okay, I'll let Moses answer that question, Commissioner.
Good evening once again. Each of these meetings, because you do have a set schedule for your meetings, which is the first and third, like, is it the second and fourth Monday?
First and third.
Yeah, first and third Mondays, that anything off of that, unless it becomes regularly scheduled, would be considered a special meeting. However, as we pointed out last time, although it can be difficult to try and do all the coordination, if you can do a vote at the meeting prior, the way City Council does, that's one way to overcome that.
And that would be a vote to have the meeting. And would we also be able to vote to accept electronic notice at that time?
I think that would be a great idea. That was one of the things I wanted to propose to you when you next had an opportunity, but this could be it. If you set this maybe for your next agenda, where you talk about everyone waiving, I can explain how council does it. I can bring forms for you if you want to do it, and then everyone can waive, and then you can have the meetings, much more quickly, other than the 24 hours notice, without going through all the effort you did for this one.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
I think at some point, I'm not sure why we're talking about having extra meetings. I was actually thinking we would need less meetings because we don't have that much left to do. So when we talk about agendas at some point, maybe you can run that by us and we can decide if we're going to have meetings for topics that no one's interested in or is interested in.
Okay. If I can continue, Chair Meyer?
Yes, please.
The only reason for potentially extra meetings or special meetings would be because we have a section of the project that is what's on your mind. So it's open questions and answers. And if we make people wait 3 weeks for an answer, that's not going to be the feel that we want to have out there. So we may need to have more, just very brief meetings where we can publish the questions that we've got. We can just get together very quickly and run down or even have a subcommittee to take care of that, to take care of those questions, present it to the body and get a really quick yes or no on a Zoom special meeting someday. It's kind of what I have been thinking.
Commissioner Ward.
Sorry to interrupt this, Commissioner Vick. Unfortunately, I have to go. But I agree with everything Catherine says, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay. So I was just going to bring up that I'm just looking at my calendar, if we cannot meet on the 20th for Juneteenth, our next regular meeting is July 4th, which is also a holiday. So if am I reading that right? So if we don't reschedule or have a special meeting somewhere there in between, we essentially go from June till the end of July without a meeting. And so we're missing 2 meetings in there in between. So that concerns me, even if we didn't have something, some burning issue, just the fact that we lose that much time in between, I don't think is a good idea. So, whether we move it to a different Monday or whether we move to the Tuesday after the Monday or something, one of those things I think we need to do.
Well, if we can discuss that on our next actual meeting on next Monday, then we can vote on it and figure all that out. But let's go ahead and go back to the survey and our Let's Talk Loveland stuff. Commissioner Barrett, do you have anything else to add or?
That was it. Would like some feedback if you guys have better ideas on how to get these events staffed. The other thing is the city events. We can get the table and the tent and all of that good stuff for the non-city events are going to take a little bit of finesse as far as getting a table and chairs and a tent if needed.
I have that stuff from Farmers Market.
Great.
I don't have the banner, but I have a tent.
Well, we would be able to use the banner.
Okay, yes. So I can volunteer my things.
Wonderful. So I think that's all I had.
Okay, so
ask any questions.
Commissioner Black.
I think Commissioner Swiger has been trying to have a comment, and so I'll let her comment and then I'll go after her if that's okay.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Commissioner Swiger, I didn't see you.
sorry about that. I just didn't know how to raise my hand other than going like this. I would volunteer for the farmers markets. I mean, I'll be there anyway.
Okay, Commissioner Black.
Where and when can I pick up printed copies of the
That's a good
survey
one.
materials?
Commissioner Barrett, do we have any information on that from Nicole?
All I have are the PDF copies. I'm happy to make prints. We can probably ask city manager if we can use city resources to make prints of the, and I guess I'm sorry, City Manager Adams is putting together cards with the QR code on it. So we'll have those available as well as the name tags and the banner we'll order through Steve. Thank you. And if you need a paper copies of the paper survey, I can drop off as many as you need. I'm happy to print them, but please don't need too many. Thank you.
Mr. Adams, could you give us a timeline on those cards? That is really handy to have.
Yes, we're working on that. Tonight we just finished another event on homelessness. So Nicole is next door wrapping up. She finished up a little while ago, and I'll check with her tomorrow on when we're going to have the card stock with the printed name on the front in Spanish, English, and the QR codes is what we talked about last time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Real quickly, Chair Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
City Manager Adams, will that meeting on homelessness, which I had hoped to attend actually, is that going to be recorded and available for us to review?
It was recorded.
And will it be distributed?
And they'll post. We have a homeless page where we have all that material.
Okay. And is this meeting being recorded by the city? I know I'm recording it, but.
Yes, it is. Our meetings are all recorded so we can broadcast them.
Okay.
Later.
Thank you.
Okay, so if I can go back, we've agreed on 45 days, and then we'll discuss again after 45 days. So what would be our end date? We should come up with an end date. If somebody could look at a calendar, please. And then we can vote on that so that it is clear. And then if Commissioner Barrett, if you could make a list of those events, then we'll have people sign up. That'd be great. Maybe even a Google calendar so that everybody could see something that is very clear for everyone to see the dates and sign up. That'd be awesome. And that's pretty much everything that we had, unless there's any more discussion.
Just a little bit of discussion about subcommittees. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yes, please.
I think Commissioner Scholl wanted to say something.
Commissioner Scholl?
No, this is Commissioner Thompson.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Commissioner Thompson.
I just got a quick question. On the times that we'll be going out to the public and doing these, can we get like 2 or 3 iPads so that they could actually do the survey right there electronically?
The QR code is scanned with their iPhone. And so that
great
takes them right to the survey.
What if they don't have an iPhone?
What if they don't have a smartphone?
Right.
I don't know. City Manager Adams.
We can check on that. We'll look on that. We had some iPads when we were doing some of the survey work last year with Nicole. So we have some iPads.
This is Commissioner Schneider to follow up on that. How many languages is the survey going to be in?
I think we were talking about that last time. Nicole is working on what you'd asked for, I think, was to have it, the printed ones in Spanish, English, and then the reference to be able to send them to a place where the survey was, where the language could be selected from our website, which we have multiple languages on.
Great.
So I think that's how we were trying to accommodate that request from last time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Commissioner Black?
It looks like, Chair Mayor, for 45 days, if we started, I think this May 22nd, that would take us that first week in the end of the week, so around the July 10th. So if the survey ended sometime that week, then is our meeting on July 18th? Would that make sense? So we'd have some data by then?
Yes, I believe so. Does anybody have any discussion on that?
I thought it was more like July 7th, but in that area, that the end of that first full week of July.
Okay, so we'll end it. Let's that first full week of July. Sorry, I don't have my big calendar up, but if we end it the first full week of July, and then we can discuss all of the results on that Monday meeting on the 18th. But if we get updates along the way, then we can discuss them as it goes. But that'll give us some more content to talk about and things to work on. Does that sound good? So then, was somebody would? Oh, Steve.
Just real quick, I just want to remind that our next meeting is June the 6th, not May 30th. So I heard some people say, "I'll see you next week," and we are meeting the first and third Mondays of the month. Yeah. So just making sure in that meeting on the 6th, we have Prothman, who's the company that will be coming to talk to you about the police chief process and getting your feedback, and where you asked for some questions that they might ask, we'll get you those questions in advance. So you can be thinking about that when they're there to pick your brain about what you think the new police chief should know and do and be. So that's what we've planned for that night. They'll be at PCAB first, and then they'll be over here second. And then we only said an hour, but I think the idea was to allow more time if you so desired. And that's where if you had other items you wanted to talk about, you could put those in there and limit how much time you spend with our consultant.
Okay, thank you. All right, are there any events between now and our next meeting that we wanted to table at?
June 5th. Is the farmers market on Sunday. And then if we want to do a library listening session, we need a team to put that together. I have enough.
What time is the farmers market on Sundays?
9 to 1. Is it 9 to 1? I can't remember. I used to do them.
I honestly don't know.
We'll check into that.
I thought it was
Catherine.
Commissioner Swigert that said that.
I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah. If it's 9 to 1, I can't otherwise.
Okay, so we will have a schedule coming out where people can sign up to volunteer. Commissioner Hildebrand, would you like to speak?
Sorry, I was just going to say I'd be willing to do the, whoops, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I was just saying I'd be willing to do the listening sessions or try to be on a subcommittee or whatever Catherine was asking for with that.
Okay, so we will need a motion to make a subcommittee for that.
Okay.
So if anyone would like to go ahead and do that, the chair is not supposed to do that.
I would like to move that we create a subcommittee to create library listening sessions for our Hispanic population.
Second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? All opposed? Scroll. Okay, motion passes. So then if you'd like to volunteer for the subcommittee, please speak up now. Commissioner Black?
I'll volunteer for that.
Okay. Commissioner Hildebrand, would you want to be part of it as well?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. I'm just taking notes. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to take part in the subcommittee for the library listening sessions? Okay.
Commissioner Swiger.
Yes. Sorry. Sorry, Commissioner Swiger. My phone doesn't show me everybody, but it does pop up when your hand's raised. Yost. Nicole?
Nicole Yost has offered to help us get in touch with the right people at the library.
Okay, awesome. So we will get you guys in touch with each other. Jeffrey, could you assist me with that, connecting them via email, and we'll figure that out with the help of Nicole.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Is there anything else we need to tackle today?
No, can't see me.
Go ahead and talk.
Excuse me?
Speak. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes.
The farmers market is 9 to 1 on
9 to 1.
Sundays at the fairground.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it okay with everyone if I tell Nicole that we would like a table at the farmers markets at the July 4th festival and at the Cherry Pie Festival? Are there any objections to me telling her that?
No objections.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Then if we don't have any more discussion, I believe that's our full agenda. Jeffrey, do we need to tackle anything else?
I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, then we'll wrap it up. I appreciate all you guys being here, and I